Hello, and welcome to Music Therapy and Beyond. I'm Elizabeth, and today I'm excited to welcome Dena Register to the podcast. For the first time ever, we were live. Dena guided us through a beautiful meditation on Zoom. For those of you who missed it, we will be sharing the content today so that you can benefit from this meditation. Dena Register is a music therapy clinician, educator, and researcher specializing in program development. As a Fulbright Scholar in Bangkok, Thailand, she developed training to build awareness and appreciation of music as a healthcare discipline. These experiences led to her interest in holistic, trauma-informed care and how clinicians build and utilize resilience. She studied Ayurvedic lifestyle and Primordial Sound Meditation through the Chopra Center and as a Chopra certified meditation teacher. She leads meditation and sound healing practices at the Chopra MindBody Zone in Lake Nona, Greater Orlando area. Wherever you choose to listen today, please refer to the show notes for any guidance on the best way to engage with this episode. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel for a video version of this meditation. Let's get to it. Hello and welcome to Music Therapy and Beyond, Dena.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to get to talk about sound healing and meditation and music therapy and all that good stuff.
Yes, you've been on our list for a long time to invite, so I'm really excited that we were finally able to find a good matchup of a topic and a date and time that you could hang out with us. So thank you for taking the time and just being willing to share some of your new skills with us.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So I think a lot of people in our community are probably familiar with you in some shape or form because you do have your hands in so many different areas of the music therapy world, which we're all very grateful for. But I think for anybody who maybe is not as familiar with you, it'd be great if you wanted to kind of introduce yourself, talk about sort of your professional journey and how you came to learn about this sound healing and meditation and where you're at professionally now.
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to. Thanks. I have been a music therapist for many years now. It goes really, really quickly. It's amazing how time flies, as they say. I started as a clinician in Florida and worked, had a small private practice and really was primarily grant funded, but also had some private pay clients in Tallahassee and also in Tampa, Florida. And then went back to graduate school because I was interested in research and I had done enough clinical work to know that there was a whole lot of stuff that I didn't know, and I wanted to better understand theory and really a lot of development kinds of things. So child development, early childhood, that sort of thing. So I went back for a master's degree just with the intention of getting my master's and then continuing to work, and had a couple of different experiences that really kind of changed the entire trajectory for me. One of those was creating my own study abroad experience. I had never done that as an undergraduate. I really wanted to do it, and thankfully had the support of the faculty to go looking for something. And I ended up spending the summer in London taking a social work class to understand the social welfare system in the UK, and then also my own sort of directed study and connecting with various music therapy agencies and music therapists in the London area, and getting to go into a women's shelter there and work with folks that were sheltering in place. Many of them were asylum seekers from other countries. So it was a fascinating group of women to work with. And that really kind of changed everything for me. It became on my bucket list was to create something where music therapists knew they could go take some kind of trip for some undetermined amount of time at that point and have a music therapy experience and understanding abroad. So it really planted that seed. And then the other thing that happened is I ended up later in graduate school taking a job as a grief and loss counselor for children and teens that was connected to a hospice. So I ended up doing grief and loss work with children and teens, and then also doing hospice work. And that sort of really shaped and shifted everything for me. And I stayed, did the PhD, and then was off onto a teaching career that had not really been part of the plan initially. So it's funny how allowing things to happen and just saying yes to things if it feels like maybe it might be right, even if you're not entirely sure, can take us on all kinds of fun and interesting paths. And I taught at the University of Kansas for 12 years from 2003 to 2015. And then I left Kansas to start the music therapy program at West Virginia University. I was there for 3 years. And then left in 2018 for a warmer climate, honestly. I'm a Florida girl, and you can take the girl out of Florida, but she's going to go back there after enough winters and enough snow and cold. So we've been in Florida since 2018. And so I guess parallel track to my teaching career has been working as the regulatory affairs advisor for CDMT and helping task forces all over the country advocate for recognition of the MTBC credential and work towards whatever their state sort of determines is the best path. In many cases, that's licensure. So I've had the privilege of interacting with music therapists all over the country, which is feels just like such a gift to get to know people that are working in all kinds of areas all over the place. So that I'm coming from all of that background, and I think the advocacy background is probably most interesting as related to this sort of new trajectory and path that I'm on. In 2019, I attended a meditation and retreat and conference with Dr. Deepak Chopra. And as part of that, we learned Primordial Sound Meditation and practiced it at this conference, and then had the opportunity actually to take a class to learn to teach that to others. And it's another one of those turning points that I count kind of in that same bucket as, taking the job in grief and loss and deciding I'm going to go study abroad. I hadn't had a really major decision like that in a while, and where I wasn't entirely sure what it was going to look like. And so 2019 into 2020, I took an online class in Primordial Sound Meditation and how to teach that. And then everything shut down. And so I wasn't teaching anybody. I was just, practicing myself. And so it was a really interesting shift in my own meditation practice, which had been going for many years, but not maybe with the same consistency. And then in 2021, I was contacted that they were opening the Chopra MindBody Zone in my area. So Lake Nona is not far from us. It's the greater Orlando area. And as part of that, offering meditation, different kinds of yoga, and all kinds of wellness offerings. And the initial phone call, the person that I spoke with said, I would love to know more about your teaching practice in meditation. And I was like, well, there's not really a teaching practice in meditation. I've been meditating. She's like, oh, great. And I said, I have, several years of experience teaching other things. And so one thing led to another, and I was hired there. I've been working at the MindBody Zone since we opened, which was in August of 2021. It's a beautiful center that's part of a much larger wellness center that has a lot of wellness offerings. Like we have pools and the workout floor and different group fitness classes and all kinds of things really aimed at living your best life. How do you really promote your own health and stay healthy as you age? And so it's a big focus in that community is health and wellness in all of its definitions in terms of mind, body, spirit. And so it's really fun to be a part of that. It's a very forward-looking community. And so I get to go in twice a week and lead sound healing meditation, utilizing sound bowls and sometimes silent meditation. So it just kind of depends on the day and depends on the crowd. So we do group meditations, and then I also teach Primordial Sound Meditation there at that site.
Wow, you've had an incredible professional journey, I would say, and I'm really just grateful that you are a guest person, because it means that you've gotten to contribute to all of these parts of the music therapy world. I'm curious though, did you fall into meditation initially because you needed to for self-care as a professional person, or because you were just really fascinated by it and very open-minded as a person, or was it a combination?
I think it was a combination. I was raised in a household where meditation was talked about. My parents both practiced. And so I had done more kind of guided meditations, like things that you would find on your phone through Insight Timer, or a lot of people are familiar with Deepak Chopra and Oprah Winfrey 21-day free meditations that they did over the years, many different times. So I had done several of those. And so it was definitely also for self-care, but taking my own data on the N of one, I figured out that I'm a different person when I am practicing regularly. And my favorite analogy is, when you pick up and you shake a snow globe and everything is all over, you can't track on just one little piece of snow in a snow globe. And the metaphor for the inner self and a snow globe really resonated with me. And this idea that when you set the snow globe down and everything settles, it's a different picture. You can see the scene differently. And so I started realizing as I was practicing that my inclination was to say, okay, I'm too busy. I don't have time to do this. Where am I going to fit it in? And I started realizing over a period of time, when I was saying that, that's exactly what I needed to do, was stop immediately and meditate. And even if it was 5 minutes, it didn't have to, it's not like you don't have to sit in silence for 45 minutes necessarily for it to be effective. And sometimes when there's a lot of inner turmoil, it really helps to have a mantra that you're repeating, or it helps to have a guided meditation. And I think people sometimes shy away from silent meditation because they feel like they just can't get there wherever there is. So it's been fun to explore what works for me, and how am I able to do that. And then also the exploration of teaching, just like anything else in music therapy, there's a component of teaching to me that is actually partnering. It's like partnering with this individual or group of people to figure out, okay, where are you and where am I? And we're navigating this new place together, which is really the part of teaching that is most exciting to me. So in so many ways, I think it was a really good fit, but the meditation itself absolutely is a self-care tool, but then seeing how it fits in to this idea of any kind of helping profession. And you cannot pour from an empty cup. And there's a lot, I feel like, increased discussions about things like humility and boundaries and culture. It just feels like it couldn't be really kind of the raising of the awareness couldn't come at a better time. I feel like a very workable solution to a lot of things that we find challenging as music therapists.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to just try different things, because what works for the first 1 to 2 years might not work anymore after a while, or you might be in a
Yeah.
different setting where your needs
Mhm.
are then different. Because hearing you talk about the grief and loss work, I did that
Yeah.
for a period of time as well, and it's very, very heavy to hold space for people on a daily basis. And my self-care routine in that period of my life was very different than what it is now, where I'm working mostly with neurodivergent children. So it's,
Yeah.
I don't do the same thing. It really depends a lot on where I'm at, professionally and personally, who I'm working with. I've just found that needs change over time. And so
Yeah.
having other things to choose from and try is really essential to be able to maintain that healthy state. It's a
Yes. I
helper.
think absolutely. Well, and our own personal situations change, which also adds another layer to you and I have known each other for a long time. My kids are now, one's about to turn 16 and one's about to turn 11. And I think when I met you, you weren't married, you didn't have kids, like so many things layers are added. And so it really does help to navigate. Sometimes it's not even the professional stuff that causes me to really stop and meditate. It's the personal, so how do you may have the work stuff managed, but then you need a little headspace in order to support your own family and things at home. And so it really does, I feel like, fit into all these different things as our lives become more rich and full of all kinds of things. So it helps.
Definitely. Well, I'm excited to experience this. This is going to be new for me. So I would love, before you actually begin, for you to just kind of briefly explain what you're going to be guiding us through, so we have a little bit of an idea, and then I'm going to let you just kind of take it away.
Okay, that sounds great. So I talked about being trained in primordial sound meditation. So I'll talk about that just for a quick minute. That's actually not what we'll necessarily do right now. Primordial sound is the idea that vibration and sound is ever present, and at any given moment that the earth, the universe is creating a vibration that could be translated into a sound. The sound doesn't necessarily have meaning, but it's given a sound that can be chanted or spoken. And so each of us has our own primordial sound, kind of like your astrological sign. So you look up primordial sounds by your birth date and time and location and that sort of thing. And it's used as part of a mantra. And so the idea with primordial sound meditation is that you're chanting or saying silently, even in your head, a mantra repetitively. And that's your mantra. And that helps you drop into what we would call the gap, or that space of infinite possibility, that space of it's frequently, I think, described as stillness, but it's, people have kind of different ways they describe it in different definitions, if you will. So that's something that we do sometimes do that in a group, and everybody's using their own mantra and they're, and chanting to themselves. When I'm doing group meditations at the center weekly, I guide the meditation in. So sometimes people choose to sit or they choose to lie down. It just kind of depends. We usually say that sitting up with your feet flat on the floor, or you can sit cross-legged. Basically, that you have your spine is straight, that you are in a comfortable position, that you can breathe easily, and that you can feel relaxed but somewhat alert is a good position to start with. So I will guide everybody through that and guide some breathing, and then we'll utilize some of the sound bowls that I have here. And I'll give you a visualization and guide the meditation, and then you'll just hear the bowls a little bit for just a few minutes, and then guide everyone back out. So it's pretty easy, follow along kind of thing. And something else I was going to say about that. That just left me. One of the things that I hear frequently from people is that, oh, I try to meditate and I fall asleep. What does that mean? There's no meaning behind that. It just means that your body is tired and you're finally like sitting and relaxed enough to fall asleep. So we just encourage, continuing to try. And I think what you find over time, hopefully, is that like anything else that you practice, like there's some muscle memory to this too, and the auditory memory. And eventually your body will be like, oh, okay, I know what we're doing now. And it becomes easier. But I think it's that sticking to it. It's like taking one guitar lesson and saying, I can't play the guitar, So there's a lot of coordination and things going on that need a little bit of practice, with a lot of repetition in order to feel more comfortable and feel more natural to you. So meditation is very much, I think, the same way.
Yeah, I think because it's so much more accessible and there's an app for that and all these things, we think that it's supposed to be really easy for us. And because we're trained in psychology and neuroscience and all these things, that we should just be able to snap to it and do it. And then we get frustrated if we can't do it perfectly right away, which is really a silly concept, especially the way you just said it a minute ago. Like, that's kind of absurd to think that we would be experts in that our first time. So I appreciate that encouragement. I think it's a good reminder for everybody. And that's what we tell our clients. I do psychiatric groups right now too. And there's a lot of education around what's happening in your brain, creating these pathways. You're learning how to do this. If you don't practice it, it's not going to become a part of you. It's going to be something that you have to work harder to access, especially if you're not regulated and calm. So yeah, I just really appreciate that reminder.
Yes. Just takes practice is all. So, all right. With that, should we jump into it?
Let's do it.
All right. Sounds great. Find a comfortable seated position. So it can be in your chair, it can be on the floor, whatever feels best to your body. And if you would like to have your feet flat on the floor, not everyone's comfortable sitting cross-legged, and that's totally fine. There is no one position that is the position you have to be in. So just take a moment and get yourself comfortable in your seat with your spine straight. And if you are able, if you feel safe and comfortable, you can close your eyes. If you don't want to close your eyes all the way, you might just want to cast your gaze downward. And that's really to just avoid being distracted by other things in the room, or we're going to try and minimize our distractions if at all possible. You can place your hands on your knees. You can either place your palms down or up. Either way is fine. And just take a moment to tune into the breath. We're going to take a breath in through the nose and back out through the nose again. You don't have to control the breath or do anything in particular. Just notice that it's there. The breath is perhaps one of our most accessible healing agents. And it happens so automatically that we sometimes forget to pay attention to our breathing, which can result in us holding our breath or breathing really rapidly. So we want to take a moment to just invite the breath in through the nose, feeling it enter the body, and then exhaling gently through the nose. Noticing the sensation of how the breath feels as it enters, as the lungs expand. In the way that we talked about the snow globe before, you might find your body kind of settling. You may notice sensations. You might want to shift around a little bit. That's okay. And on the next round of breath, we're going to inhale for a count of 4. So nice and slow. And we're going to allow the breath to fill up more of the body. So dropping all the way into the abdomen, almost like you're blowing up a balloon. Let's inhale together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding the breath at the top for 1, and then slowly exhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhaling again, we'll inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding at the top momentarily. And now exhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to stop counting and allow you to do the counting for your breath. If that count wasn't comfortable for you, you can certainly either go just a hair faster, or you can count for a count of 3. But you want to count slowly if possible, holding at the top. And then we like to work up to the exhale, taking a little bit longer than the inhale. So if you inhale for a count of 4 and hold briefly at the top, and then maybe exhale for a count of 6. So just allowing the air to gently, slowly leave the body, knowing that you are safe, that you have all that you need, and giving your body the opportunity to utilize that fresh oxygen and then to slowly release and clear out, allowing the breath to take with it that which no longer serves you. The breath, like water, comes in, cleanses, renews, and carries out with it things that can feel stuck or heavy. Just that which you no longer need to hang on to. Continuing now with the breath. Releasing the counting from your breath. Continue to breathe comfortably, naturally. Continuing to create that inner space. Feeling grounded. Noticing where the body meets the chair or the floor, wherever you're sitting. And as you continue to breathe, feeling that you're connected to your physical space, but also connected to something bigger than yourself. Allowing what needs to come. Releasing anything and everything that wants to go. Creating that inner space. We'll introduce the mantra So Hum. If you'd like, when you inhale, you can say to yourself, So, and as you exhale, hum. So, hum. So, hum. Repeating the mantra to yourself in a way that feels comfortable and natural gives you a place to return if you find that your mind is distracted. Continuing to repeat, So Hum. time to release the mantra. Continuing to sit with your eyes closed. Resting in existence. Resting in awareness. Resting in being. Taking these next few moments remembering that you are loved and that you are love. Before we leave this meditation, we'll set 4 intentions. The 4 intentions, I'll say each one out loud and you can repeat silently to yourself. The first intention, a joyful, energetic body. Joyful, energetic body. Our second intention, a loving, compassionate heart. Loving, compassionate heart. Our third intention, reflective, alert mind. Reflective, alert mind. And the fourth intention, culmination of the other 3, lightness of being. Lightness of being. As you feel ready, you can open back up through the eyes. Taking a moment to gently come back into the time and space. Noticing the beauty around you. Bringing the palms together in front of the heart. And taking just a moment of gratitude for all that you bring to those that you serve, to your family, to your friends, to your work. We'll close with the word Namaste, meaning the light, divine being in me sees and honors the light and divine being in each of you. Namaste.
Thank you so much for that, Dena. That was lovely.
Good. I hope it was helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it really was. I'm excited to share it with everyone because we all have different times of day that we can find that quiet moment. So I think it'll actually be really cool to have this on our podcast as something people can go back to and use when it's a good time for them. So I'm just really excited that we did this together. I think it's great.
Thank you. Thanks so much for the invitation.
Thanks for tuning in to Music Therapy and Beyond. For show notes from today's episode, head to our website, musictherapyandbeyond.com. And while you're there, check out our shop. If you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe to share our work on all platforms. And don't forget to tune in every Monday for another great episode. We'll see you next time.